All right, guys, welcome back. I'm Digging Z71. My name is Dylan. As you can tell, we are back in the home shop, back here at the house. I already have the truck on the lift to install some new parts today. I'm super pumped about it. So, as you know, the truck has spent the last couple of days down at Hardway. Mike has really helped me out getting that new crossover built, but we decided to put the we decided to put the downpipe on hold. So there's some things that I'm considering doing in the near future that sort of make it not a good idea to build the downpipe at the moment. So I'm not going to disclose any secrets. That's all just kind of up in the air right now. But for now, the crossover is more than enough. It looks good. It sounds good. And we're going to be putting it to the test soon. So the plan is to put these new parts on that I have in my box over there. So I got some freshies loaded up in the box. And with those things, I plan to go test tomorrow as long as Tropical Storm Ada doesn't mess us up. This is Tropical Storm number 486,000 that we've had this year. 2020 just continues to pound away. But it is back to racing tomorrow, testing for no prep as long as the rain holds off. So I have like 5 no prep races coming up to end the year out. And what's in those boxes, I really hope to make me faster. So first things first is these fresh set of Afcos. A buddy of mine over in Mississippi, about 2 hours away, hit me up a while back about having these things for sale, but I was on the fence about them. I kind of wanted some different stuff, blah, blah, blah. I didn't really have the money. Anyway, I hit him up late Friday night a few weeks ago and said, hey man, you still got those things? He told me, yeah. So I loaded up in the truck about 6 a.m. and went and got them. I was at his front porch at about 8 in the morning. So made a quick little skip about 2 states away to go pick these guys up. These are Afco eliminators. They are double adjustable, so they should do very nice for me on the truck. Much better than what we have now. Just to remind you folks that this is what I've been working with. These are the factory shocks from the front of the truck. These things were originally on the front. When I first lowered this thing way back when, they were on the shelf and I was like, oh man, I need to move this thing, blah, blah, blah. Those were the things that fit. If you didn't know, those shocks have taken me to a 144 60 foot, and I still don't think that I'm out of shock right now. I think that there's a little bit left, but I do think it's fighting a losing battle to keep working with 300,000 mile stock front shocks off of a 95 Z71. So it is on to the Afcos we go. As you guys know, I have the Vikings up front, which have been phenomenal for me. I really wanted a pair to match those from front on the back, but I think these Afcos are going to do just fine. And if not, we'll send them to our buddies at Mincer and get them back in action. The 144 60 foot. So if you remember, let's circle back a little bit. So if you remember, if you watched all the way through to the end of my diesel race where we ended up getting oiled down and they had to call it, I ended the night on a 144 60 foot. And I ultimately hit boost cut at about 20 pounds, somewhere around 100, 110, 120 foot out on the track. So that boost cut was at 20 pounds. Now what's in this box here is gonna help me a lot. All right, so let's lay out what we have here. So considering my best 60 foot was leaving on about 12 pounds with basically no ramp, it's just as fast as a turbo can spool itself using my single 3-port. It made 20 pounds where I hit boost cut somewhere around the 110, 120 foot mark, a little over 2 seconds into the run. So what I have in this box should help me make not only more boost, as I'm currently limited to double my spring, which is 10. So 20 pounds is basically all that was gonna run, maybe 21. But somewhere right around 20, 21 was all I can do. But what's in that box is going to help me make more boost, and it's gonna help me make that boost even sooner. Let's go take a look. So I've been wanting to make this order for a while. You already know who this is from, our buddies over at Motion Raceworks. And if you haven't guessed, I picked up a CO2 kit. So what's the big deal with CO2? Well, let me just tell you. The truck right now currently has a single 3-port Mac on here. One sec, let me turn it on. The truck has a single 3-port Mac valve. So this goes up to, it's my boost reference right here. This boost reference line goes to a vacuum block that I have. And basically what this does is when I had the wastegate on this side, this line went to the top of the gate. So as it made boost on this side, I could tell this thing turn on and off, on and off, on and off to make however much boost I wanted on this side. And so that would apply to the dome. Let's look at the dome here. that line went into this area here, and it would push that sucker closed. It would push it closed to try to keep the valve that's inside. It would try to keep this valve closed in this position, so that way more boost would go to the motor, make more power, right? So this is what that did. But ultimately, like I said, you can only get just about double your spring rate doing this way. And also, the valve ends up being cracked open, so it's like in the slightly open position basically the entire time, because it can only push back as hard as the turbo is making boost. So if I have a 10-pound spring in here, I already told you that I can basically only make double. Well, if I make 10 pounds on gate, then it takes 11 pounds on top to make 11 pounds here. So I have to wait for the turbo to make 11 so I can push down and make 12. So then I can push down and make 13, et cetera, et cetera. So it takes time to do that. That is why it took me, even though I've left on a substantial amount of boost, somewhere around the 12, 14 pound range, it took me another 100 feet or so to get to 20 pounds. Now, how much faster would I be even without increasing total boost? So even if I left boost at 20 pounds, how much faster could I be if I had the same 20 pounds at 20 feet or at 10 feet? You see what I'm saying? So that's why CO2 was so fast. That's why it's the way to go. That is why I purchased it. And this is the theory that I'm going to apply, and hopefully it makes me faster. Basically, the CO2 applies pressure to the dome instead of requiring boost to do it. So you turn the CO2 bottle on and you feed it to a feed solenoid. That's why you have to have double. And Doug has a really good explanation on this, Doug at Motion Raceworks. He has a really good video that explains why this is the way to go. That's, you know, just kind of what I'm glossing over. But basically, you use the CO2 to push on the top of the dome and keep that valve closed. So not only can you spool faster, but you can have complete and total control from whatever your base spring is. So mine is 10, because I want to keep that for pump gas driving. 10 pounds is very safe, very fun, does big smoky burnouts. It's a good place to be on spring. So anyway, you can go as low as your spring pressure up to virtually unlimited, because you could regulate this thing to like 80 something pounds. So as long as it doesn't take 80 pounds of dome pressure to make more boost, you can do so. Now, obviously, my little S485 T6 132 is gonna run out of steam before I need 80 pounds of dome pressure in order to go faster. Either the engine will expire, the turbine will run out, the compressor will choke, all of the above, whatever. But we plan to use this to make more boost and earlier in the run. Let's just do some quick math here, or really some quick guesses. If I leave on the same 12 pounds and put the same 20-pound overall boost in it, but I have that boost at 20 feet instead of 120 feet, how much faster do you think I'll be? I mean, I don't know. This is not some question that I have an answer to, but it's gotta be faster. It's gotta be faster to have more boost sooner. And being that my truck is four-wheel drive, there's no reason why I can't apply that boost sooner. So basically, if this thing leaves a starting line, if it moves more than 4 or 5 feet, if the tires are motivating at that point, I think, at least in theory, I can just apply up arrow. I can just push and just go as fast as my physical parts will take me. I don't think I'll be traction limited. I think if the truck can move, maybe it's 10 feet, but if I can get the truck to move 10 feet without losing the tire, I think it's game over after that, and I can apply all that I have as quickly as I can have it. So how much faster do you think I'll be if I put 20 pounds through the motor at 20 feet instead of 120 feet? So, you know, I want to hear some guesses. And remember, that was a 144 60 foot. So all else equal, everything else is the same. Bring in boost in 100 feet sooner. What do you think it'll do? I'll walk over to this box about 5 times now, but let's go through what I got here. So obviously we have CO2 bottle. You fill this guy up. It's cheap. It's easy. It's something around like $13 or so to get this guy working. We have some really nice line. Doug swears up and down that this stuff will hold up to heat extremely well. Oh, that's neat. He's got his logo on there. I didn't realize, or his company. That's neat. Anyway, he said it holds up to heat extremely well. Here is the regulator. This is where you regulate the pressure that's, or monitor the pressure that's in the bottle, and you regulate what it comes out of it, because if you try to cram, you know, too much pressure to the top of your dome, it'll just tear the diaphragm apart or blow the screws away. Anyway, so another piece I bought is his dual solenoid thing. So basically, when you run CO2, you have to have one solenoid that's from the CO2 bottle to the dome that fills it. It fills the dome full of CO2, fills it full of pressure, and then you have to use another to vent it. In my current setup, like I mentioned, I have one solenoid that just fills it, and then it vents out the 3-port here whenever we're done. But that's not the case with CO2. You have to have one to vent and one to fill. So I bought this nifty little bracket here. We're gonna mount that under the truck. Comes with a nice T, so that way you can T both solenoids together. Oh, and candy. You know, I'm gonna be honest, Doug. I was really hoping for some gushers, but a dum-dum will do. And then, again, Doug swears up and down by these fittings. He swears that CO2 will last a long time, as long as you have fittings that don't leak or melt. So I went ahead and bought his full kit of fittings, the ones that he says to get. So that way I have no excuses. It's gonna work. And then I bought a billet bottle mount bracket. So I wanna take this bracket, and I don't know what size the shifter pedestal is on my truck. My truck was at Hardway when I ordered this stuff, but I just guessed, and I'm hoping that this mount will fit my shifter pedestal, so that way I can be in the truck and I can have the bottle right on hand, right next to the shifter, so I can turn it on and off as needed. So basically now I can have, you know, turn this bottle off, and I can have street truck pump gas, and I can turn this thing on, and I can have race truck party time. So that's basically what we're looking for. But let's get to installing. Hey! What up, guys? That's my buddy Austin Lee. He was the converter donator from the last video.
And
Coming in.
Drinker.
Oh, shoot.
Delivery.
Sick. It's my favorite. That's my go fast stuff, bud.
This is my sucker.
I know, I was kind of upset because normally they send gushers, and instead they sent a dum-dum. It suits you well, though.
It's fine.
So you know the way this works, right? You know how this is gonna make me faster?
This is NOS.
NOS.
We fill this up with NOS, and then it blows your intake manifold off.
No, it blows the floor pan out. No, man, this is my CO2 setup I was telling you about.
Okay.
Basically makes however much boost you want and makes it sooner.
All the fast guys have CO2, so
Yeah, that's the short and sweet of it. So
I think we're gonna put a different tire on the truck though.
yeah, maybe a different tire. We did win some money on these, and I still got to make a video on it, but it's that stuff might be a little spicy for those. What you doing there, girl?
Sweeping.
Thank you. It's a big help. I'm gonna get back to work. You keep working too. It's a good job. You got them together over here.
Yeah, buddy.
So this is gonna be my fill solenoid, and this is gonna be the vent. They're nice and teed together. This line will go to the gate to apply pressure, and then subsequently vent it when necessary as well. So that's that. Austin's putting some connectors on there for me, so that way they're under the truck and they're serviceable when needed. And we're just about ready to rock and roll, at least with wiring them up and connecting them to the Holly. So Austin, what are you using here?
This is a lightweight race fastener.
A what?
A lightweight race fastener.
I like that.
That's what it's called, and I'm sticking to it.
I like that.
A lot lighter than volts.
So what Austin is doing, he's under there putting connectors on for the outputs to the solenoids from the Holly, from the outputs from the Holly to the solenoid. So he's putting different connectors. So he's putting one male and one female on each, and then the opposite side to the corresponding solenoids. So that way you can't get them mixed up. That way you can't accidentally plug the vent solenoid into the fill solenoid output and vice versa, because they're designed to work in one particular way. So we want to make it so that way you can't cross them up. That way, in case Austin comes over and helps me pull the trans, swap a converter, that way, blah, 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 anything happens, no one can get them crossed up. They have to plug into one place, and it's dummy proof because we're dummies. All right, so we got the dome sensor in. This is one of Brandon Dollar's low dollar sensors. This is a 150 PSI sensor. So what this does is the Holly uses closed loop boost control based on dome pressure to make boost. You don't set a target manifold pressure with the Terminator X, at least. It uses closed loop based off of dome sensor, like I said. So CO2 comes in here, sensor reads how much it has in the dome, and then it does its magic stuff to make it hit the target that you want. It either tells the vent and fill, so we have fill solenoid and vent solenoid. It tells those to turn on and off as needed to hit a target at this point that's in the dome, and then boost happens. So it's been a couple of days since Austin and I were under the truck getting everything wired up, but I've got it all done. Everything is tucked in there nice and neat. This motion kit went in extremely well. The only things left is for me to actually put the bottle in the truck. Now, originally when I first decided to do CO2, I kind of went back and forth on what I wanted to do. And ultimately I decided that I wanted it next to the shifter, or I wanted it not necessarily next to the shifter. I wanted it somewhere I could reach it from the driver's seat. So the number one complaint with CO2 is people saying, oh, I forgot to turn my bottle on. I forgot to turn my bottle on. Well, I didn't want that excuse. I want the bottle to be accessible from the driver's seat at all times, so that way I can make sure that I have it on when it's time to race. That way it's nobody else's fault. I don't depend on anyone else for anything. So the first place I thought of when I said that was behind the seat. So, you know, that would have been fine. There would have been things I could have done there, and that, you know, I might move it there one day. But the second idea I had was to buy one of Motion's billet brackets that they sell, and I wanted to put it on the shifter. Now, when I ordered all that, I didn't have access to the truck as it was down at Hardway, and I didn't know what size the shifter pedestal was, so I had to guess. And I'll be damned if I didn't get it just right. But check this out. So I picked up Motion's bracket here, and it fits perfectly on the top of my shifter mount. So the bottle's gonna sit right in there. It works perfectly, fits right around the seat, just like you'd expect. So I'm super pumped about that. Let's go grab the bottle and stick it in there, and we'll run our line that we have running through the floor. So here's the bottle itself. Shout out to my buddy Adam at Innovative Street Technologies. He got it filled for me today. I was kind of looking around for a place to fill it. Academy used to do it, fire extinguisher places. But Adam is a racer himself, and he owns a really, really nice shop. It's helped me out a ton with this truck. Talked to him today about 45 minutes worth of things to get faster. But he was able to get the bottle filled for me. And so let me show you guys how all of this works. So the bottle slides in there perfectly. Comes with a bottle nut I'll put on. But this plastic line, I have it run through the floor. I wanted it to not really be visible when I had all this installed. So it was important to me that this be sort of the least intrusive as possible, because it's kind of is obnoxious having a bottle here, but the purpose of it is to be able to use it when I'm racing and use it myself. So that's a good spot for it. Let's move around to the driver's seat and we'll see how it reaches. So boom, there it is. It's nice and easy. Can reach it right there, not in the way of my shifter at all. Plenty of room for someone to sit there. It's absolutely not in their way. Obviously no one's really sitting in the middle that often. That's it. That is the Motion Raceworks CO2 kit install. Basically I'll loosen this guy up, turn it on, and this feed line that goes here, goes through the floor, is connected to the fill solenoid that we talked about. And then that fill solenoid pushes on top of the dome, and it is party time. So I can't wait to get out there and try this stuff. So really the only thing left for me to do is to get my laptop out and plug it in and play around, put some settings in there, make sure that everything works, see if I can get the solenoids to click and vent and fill, do their things. So I'm gonna put a kind of a crazy boost curve in there to see if I can get it to follow it. I'm gonna watch the dome sensor, make sure that it's reading the pressures that I expect, make sure that I didn't wire anything wrong, that Austin and I didn't get something goofed up while we were going over it, because today is Thursday. I hope to have this video edited and out tomorrow morning on Friday, so that way Friday I can test, because there's a big time no prep race coming up that I really want to go to. So it's actually a 10,000 to win cash days. Now I don't have enough, to run that class. I don't have enough power, yada yada yada. It's no prep, so I have a better chance than some races, but still these guys are fast and I just don't have enough for them. But they have an all-wheel drive class, so people have pretty strong feelings about all-wheel drives in and out of no prep races. So the promoter of this particular race decided to put together an all-wheel drive class, and that's what I'm getting ready for. I'm really hoping that the shocks I put on and the CO2 is going to be a game changer. So look out for tomorrow's video. Hopefully we get to do some testing on all this stuff, and then wish us luck on Saturday. So I realized that I talked about the shocks the other day when I was filming, and then I even mentioned them tonight, but I never actually showed them installed. So let's take a look. So there they are. Got the Afcos in. These are the eliminators. They are double adjustable. And now, right now, I basically have the shocks 20 clicks from full tight. There's about 41 or 42 clicks of adjustment. And I have them 20 from tight on rebound and full tight on compression. I think I'm going to need all the compression I can get out of these guys. It's really the the rebound that I'm going to be adjusting. So you adjust those with the bottom adjuster nut there. It spins clockwise and counterclockwise to go more or less tight, but hopefully these guys are a game changer for me compared to the Million Mile Monroes over here. Let's take a look at these guys. It's funny. Zach Beasley coined them the Million Mile Monroes. So this here is what I've been running on the truck this entire time. I basically had these shocks on the truck since I started. So that's basically exhaust and road grime from 300,000 miles worth of activity. But I mean, they've actually got some stiffness to them. Like, you know, they're not that easy to close, and I don't know what the rebound is like on them. I mean, they're pretty stiff to pull out too. So it's kind of funny. I think that, you know, most people hear stock shocks and they assume that these things are just flopping in and out, but this is probably the reason why it's worked as well as they have, is because they're stiff for the front of a heavy truck, and I was using them on the rear, which has significantly less action. So I don't know. I really can't wait to try out the Afcos. I think they're going to be an absolute game changer, like I said. Not going to lie, it's a little funny to me even still. Like, so I knew these were there the whole time, but it's funny actually taking them out and having them in my hand to think that I was racing and going as fast as I was with some Million Mile Monroes. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.